Gotta ask you, Janice Combs, how you feel about her? I mean, they alleging that she was, having freak off.
I spoke to a man, Mr. Brown, who used to go to the freak offs, and he knew Miss Combs and he knew about her and her freak offs and everything like that. We had always thought that she had a modeling agency, but it wasn't a modeling agency. It was more a brothel that she ran for high profile drug dealers and athletes.
Yeah, my mom's gorgeous. Let me introduce you to my mom, called Mom Dukes.
Hi.
She's getting a drip with me. She's hydrating. What's up, Mom?
Everything's good, baby. I'm here with you.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
Well, that's what one of his childhood friends says in a documentary, that these freak-offs have roots to wild parties conducted by his mother.
Cassie is reportedly preparing to hold Diddy's mother, Janice Combs, accountable for her alleged involvement in their relationship. She allegedly says, Janice would sit in a love seat and watch us, then yell at Sean when she thought he was being too easy on me.
Kirk Burroughs, the president at the time, a bad boy, told me that he smacked his mother. I remember we was in the car. It was me, Puff, and his mother got in the car with us. His mother got in the car, he was on the phone, and then he said to his mother, yo, didn't I tell you to stay out my MF business? Yo, I want to snatch the shadow off him. I said, boy, who you talking to? I said, boy, if you ever talk to your mama like that again around me, I'm gonna beat the shit out you. But gee, I told her to stay out of business. Nick, let me just say this to you right now. If she wasn't for her, you wouldn't have no business. And Miss Combs sit there and quiet as a church mouse. And he ain't say nothing. He ain't say a word because he knew I was serious. I wasn't playing with him.
Hey, Mom, what's going on? You starting to cook, right? I see you got your sous chefs in the back, your master chefs in the back. So what's going on for Thanksgiving? The people want to know.
We're going to have a big Thanksgiving here because I like to cook a lot.
Okay, what you going to make?
So I'm going to make potato salad, baked macaroni, candied yams, smoked turkey wings, ribs, fried chicken, cornbread, tossed salad, stuffing.
She ain't got one damn wrinkle. I see you, girl. Mom, I was just getting closer for you. We love you, Mom. Thankful for you. Let's go.
Cassie reportedly claims that Diddy's mother likes to keep things in the family. She says, Janice told King and Justin that Grandma's all-you-can-eat buffet was always open to them. She'd ask, do you want a leg or a thigh, when they entered her home.
You heard about how Diddy mom came out defending him? She made a comment saying that Diddy is not a monster.
Yeah, he not a monster. She is. But I don't want to go there. But she is.
That's his mother. Wrong, right, or indifferent, she gonna lie, steal, kill, and protect her child. That's what she's supposed to do. But the apple don't fall far from the tree, man. You gotta realize that. You know, he didn't get all this from his daddy because he didn't know his daddy, even though they try to say his daddy was some big time drug dealer in the whole 9 yards. You understand? He didn't get this from his daddy. You gotta realize, man, you know, his mother had a modeling agency and it was alleged that it was also ladies of the night.
Diddy's mother just flipped the script, and the courtroom has never been more stunned. This was the last person anyone expected to turn on him. Janice Combs, once seen by the world as the nurturing backbone of Diddy's carefully crafted family image, is now set to testify against her own son in federal court. This betrayal hits deeper than any other, and what she's about to reveal, it could bring the entire empire down faster than anyone imagined. The courtroom went silent the moment her name was called. Janice Combs, please take the stand. Every head turned, every jaw dropped. Diddy's own mother, his lifelong protector, his public defender, his greatest ally, was about to testify against him. No one saw this coming, and yet, there she was. Walking slowly past the defense table, eyes locked forward, not once looking at her son. Sean Diddy Combs didn't blink. He just stared as his mother, the woman who raised him in Harlem, the woman who stood by him during every album drop, every business deal, every scandal, now stood on the opposite side of the courtroom, and she was here to tell the truth. The judge gave her a nod. "Ms. Combs, you are under oath. You may proceed." Janice took a breath, looked out over the silent crowd, and began. "I never wanted this day to come, but I can no longer stay silent, not after what I've seen, not after what I've buried." For years, Janice had been the image of maternal strength. She was always smiling in photos, always standing backstage, but behind that calm smile was a storm. According to her sworn statement, Janice witnessed her son's descent long before the public did, and she tried again and again to stop it. "I begged him to leave the parties alone," she told the court. "I told him to stop bringing those people into our homes, but he wouldn't listen." What people didn't know was that Janice had a front row seat to Diddy's private life. He trusted her, he confided in her, he slipped up around her, and according to her testimony, he confessed to things that even the prosecutors hadn't uncovered yet. He said the money made things easier. He said he could pay anyone to go away. I thought he was just being arrogant. I didn't realize he was talking about real victims. Her voice cracked, but she continued. "I kept secrets. I told myself I was protecting my family, but I was just enabling him. And now I have to live with that." As the courtroom leaned in, Janice gripped the microphone a little tighter. There were nights, she said, when he would come home shaking, drunk, paranoid, talking about people who knew too much. I didn't understand what he meant at first, but as time went on, the stories got darker. She described one night in 2019, just after a lavish party hosted by Diddy in Miami. He showed up at her home unannounced, pacing the kitchen, sweating, rambling about someone who threatened to leak footage. He said, "Ma, I can't let that video get out. You don't understand. This could ruin everything." I asked what it was. He wouldn't tell me. He just kept repeating, "It was just a party, just a party." But his eyes were full of fear. According to Janice, Diddy's parties became a euphemism for everything: coercion, blackmail, trafficking, and control. But she never had the full picture. He'd drop hints, offer coded language, and then brush it off as entertainment industry stuff. She told the jury how her suspicions grew when staff members around her began disappearing. His driver vanished overnight. One assistant never came back. I tried to ask, but I was always told, "They signed something, they're gone." Janice wasn't just testifying about events. She was testifying about the climate of fear that surrounded Diddy. There were people in that house every day who looked terrified, but they smiled. Always smiled. I understand now they were surviving. One story in particular left the courtroom shaken. Janice recalled a woman never identified by name who came to their home in 2017. She wore a red dress, looked like she'd come straight from a movie set. But when I looked in her eyes, I saw something else: panic. That woman, according to Janice, was escorted into a guest room by Diddy and two other men. Janice didn't think much of it at the time, until she passed by hours later and heard the woman crying through the walls. I knocked. No one answered. When I asked Sean about it the next day, he got angry. He told me never to bring it up again, said, "That's how people disappear, Ma." The courtroom fell into complete silence. From that day on, Janice whispered, I started sleeping with my door locked. Janice sat upright, eyes fixed on the jury. Y'all keep hearing about these code red parties, she said. Let me tell you where that came from. According to Janice, Diddy's empire wasn't just about music, it was about secrecy. The home had rules, coded language, trained staff, and every room served a purpose. There were areas in the house none of us were allowed to go into after 10 p.m., she said. He called them VIP wings, but no VIPs ever came out smiling. She then described how staff members would refer to events using color codes. Code white meant clean, it was a charity dinner or business talk. Code yellow meant camera free. But code red, that was when things got serious. Phones locked away, doors bolted. No one allowed in without his word. She recalled overhearing one staffer say, "If Ma Combs ever finds out what happens during Code Red, we're all done." That was the turning point. Janice started asking questions. I tried to get the truth out of his assistants. One of them just started crying. She looked me dead in the face and said, "I can't, I'll get hurt." That's when I knew my son wasn't just famous, he was dangerous. Janice told the court she once discovered a hard drive hidden inside a hollowed out book in Diddy's office. Curious, she asked what it was. He snatched it from my hands and screamed, "You don't need to see that." Later that night, she said she saw him burning documents in the backyard fire pit. He stood there for hours, just tossing things in. Photos, flash drives, a notebook. Janice believed it was connected to a raid he'd heard about through his lawyers. He always said he had friends in high places. He claimed he'd never get caught because everyone owed him something. But Janice now says Diddy's real fear wasn't the police, it was exposure. As Janice continued her testimony, the courtroom shifted from stunned silence to rising tension. Prosecutors leaned forward. Diddy sat stiffly, face blank, fists clenched. The defense team whispered rapidly to one another, realizing the case had just taken a turn they couldn't control. Then came the bombshell. There was a woman, Janice said, named Mariah. At least, that's what she called herself. She showed up at the house in early 2020, looked terrified, stayed in the guest room for a week. Diddy made us treat her like royalty, but she never spoke, just nodded. And one night I walked past and saw her locked in. The judge paused the session, but Janice insisted on continuing. I remember because that same week I overheard Sean on the phone. He said, "She's not ready yet, keep her calm. If she runs, that's on you." I didn't understand what he meant. Now I do. Gasps echoed through the gallery. One of the jurors dropped their pen. Even members of the press couldn't believe what they were hearing. Sean used to say the house was a safe place, but it wasn't. It was a prison for a lot of people. Prosecutors entered Janice's statements into the court record immediately. Screenshots of her handwritten notes, journal entries, and digital messages to Diddy's staff were displayed on the monitors. In one chilling message, she wrote, "You know what happens in that house isn't right. Stop pretending." By now, Diddy looked visibly shaken. His eyes darted back and forth. He whispered to his attorney, who tried to calm him, but then something broke. Witnesses say Diddy slammed both hands on the defense table and muttered, "She's lying, my own mother is lying," but Janice didn't flinch. "I'm telling the truth because no one else would," she said, looking directly at him. As her testimony wrapped, one final statement sent a chill through the entire room. "I once believed my son was a genius, a mogul, a king, but over time I realized he was something else, and I refused to go to my grave carrying his sins." By the time Janice Combs stepped down from the witness stand, the courtroom had changed. Diddy wasn't just on trial anymore. His entire empire was on trial, with his own mother acting as the prosecution's most damning witness. Her testimony had already trended worldwide. Diddy's mom flips exploded across news banners, social media, and international headlines. Backstage, reporters scrambled to confirm her every word. Journalists pulled old interviews, social posts, archive footage, anything that might validate what Janice revealed, and what they found, it matched. The house guests, the locked rooms, the red-coded parties, the destroyed drives. It was all real. Within 24 hours, 5 new lawsuits were filed. 1 by a former stylist, 1 by a live-in chef, 3 by guests who claimed to have been trapped during Code Red nights and said Janice Combs was the only one who ever tried to help them. And then came the silence, the kind of silence that only fear brings. Music execs who used to back Diddy started scrubbing their names from projects. Producers deleted tweets. Celebrities who once smiled beside him, gone. Sponsors pulled out. His vodka partnership collapsed. His reality show was canceled mid-season, and his label, frozen. A judge ordered a full financial audit, citing Janice's testimony as key evidence of pattern and practice. Even Bad Boy Records board members issued a public statement. We stand in support of those who choose truth. We are reviewing all ties to Mr. Combs effective immediately. Back home, Janice Combs didn't return to silence. She issued a public letter. To every mother out there, I want to say this: protecting your child should never come at the cost of protecting evil. I loved my son, I still do, but love without truth is just control. I chose truth. That line echoed across every platform. Mothers reposted it, survivors praised it, attorneys cited it, and the public, they realized something chilling. If Diddy's own mother had to turn against him for justice to be served, what else had been hidden for decades?